Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So it is time for July and my July plan with me. So I've got both my bullet journal and my PROJO out because obviously I use both of these on a daily basis. So I thought I would go ahead and, as always, give you guys a look at how June has been going. And so you guys know I am currently filming this on June 18th. So I've still got, a week and a half left in the month to go, but you guys always get a pretty good idea, well, I hope you guys get a pretty good idea of how things have been going, at least so far. So let's take a look at my PROJO first, and then we'll jump into my bullet journal. Let's see, so we are, oh, there we go, flipped right to June. So here is June in my PROJO so far. You guys can see that I actually have to update for yesterday, but otherwise I am up to date on my monthly. So I've got my YouTube set up over here, and then this is just any of the sort of project things that I actually get to during the day. And then I've got my key projects. So I am working on it. I've got for my passion projects, I have sewn 3 things already. I've been working on doing font making, Korean lessons, and restarting Italian, so that's good. Social media, I'm working on filming. I need to deal with some stuff for the website and all that. I have been doing posts on my website also, which is great. Admin, as always, the one that I do the least on. Really need to work on that. And just some general other things over here. So this was actually my list of things I wanted to work on with my website, so that I just sort of knew what I had outstanding that I could work on whenever I had some time. Also, since this is the end of the school year, I no longer have my teaching stuff over here. All the grades are done, lesson planning's done for the school year, so that is awesome. So what I do have is videos that I want to work on filming, whether this month or upcoming, but like sort of coming soon videos, things that I want to work on sewing. So these are actually all projects that I have cut the fabric out for. And then I have down here are projects that I want to work on. So I still need to maybe deal with the pattern, or I still need to cut out fabric, but this kind of lets me see where I am with different sewing projects. And as always, I will wait to do my monthly reflection once I actually hit the end of the month. And yeah, so that's the monthly. It's pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at weeklies. So here, this is actually the first week in June. So here is the first week in June, and as you guys can see, so this was through the end of May and then the beginning of June. So sometimes if I have things that come up, I just write them in the brown gel pen that I use over the top here, just so I kind of remember them. I have my projects that I want to work on, plus the actual goals, and so I have since kind of changed this setup to make it a little bit less redundant, but at least for this week, I didn't have enough work stuff to do a whole thing for work, but I also had enough that I didn't want to not have it, so I just kind of made adulting be a category. And then I've got stuff for a pattern test that I was working on, social media, different sewing projects, all that kind of fun stuff. Oops. Then this week, you'll see I simplified my goals, so rather than having the little check boxes over here, I left them over here, and just when I completed that goal, I crossed it off. So this way I could see what my overall goals were for the week, but all the detail was actually over here, and I think that's been working out pretty well. You'll see I have a fair amount of stuff that got migrated. It is what it is. Then this week, no, last week. This is last week. So again, a lot of like social media stuff got migrated. I sort of took it easy this week. I only had about 8 hours of work, and I was just kind of in a, I don't know, weird mental place, and I wasn't really feeling super motivated, so I actually let myself sort of relax and just watch TV and read books and all that kind of stuff. And so this stuff didn't quite get done as much, but this week I am feeling much more productive, which is great. So this is for this week. As you can see, it's currently Tuesday, so I haven't even filled in my Monday yet. It is on my Google Calendar, so I tend to let a couple days go by and then I backfill for this stuff. But I do like to plan this ahead, so when I'm looking at my week, I see where my free time is and where I have obligations for work or just social obligations, what have you. And then I've got my different key projects, and these are actually kind of the same throughout the month. So I've got adulting stuff. So now officially school stuff is done. So now it's just general like life stuff I need to work on. I've got my passion projects. So this is where a lot of my goals for the week come in. So doing Italian, Duolingo Italian, doing Korean lessons, working on my font and sewing a ruffle top, and then some social media stuff. So that's kind of where we're at here. I have also filled in for next week. I've penciled in some ideas for things that I want to work on, but I'm not going to fill them in yet until I see what I actually get to this week. And then as you guys can see, I don't really have anything going on here except for Friday morning. This is my last like work thing that is a actual work thing and not like a fun function for work before the end of the school year. So that means that I get to do a lot more of my projects and that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it works using this weekly schedule during the summer. I find that during the school year this works really well, but I am not sure if it's going to be as effective in the summer just because all of my time is free. So it might end up, I don't know, we'll see. But it might end up being that I use this section a lot more in the summer than I do this section. But anyway, so that is the end of June in my PROJO. Let's take a look at June in my bullet journal. Okay, so let's take a peek. We are in the poppy color situation. So that's the end of May there. So here's June. So this was my sort of orangey brown poppy, as I call it, month. And I still really like how this came out. So we've got monthly. This, as I have mentioned before, I tried to keep any sort of project related progress in my PROJO, and this is sort of how I was feeling during the day or if I had any fun social things or what have you. So I have filled out so far. I do have my schedule in here for work and any appointments that come up. This stuff in my PROJO ends up on the weekly log, whereas here it's just sort of listed. So that's kind of, they do exist in both places, just in different formats and different visual formats, which actually is really helpful for me to sort of visualize my time, I guess is what I want to say. So I do have some stuff coming up in July, so I've got those filled in. I didn't fill out a ton of tasks, and I actually finally did one of them. I built the chairs for my apartment, and I'm kind of playing, I think for July I'm gonna leave it like this, but I'm kind of playing with the idea that maybe these tasks aren't super necessary with the PROJO and maybe I should just have an intentions page. We'll see. Like I said, I think for July I'm gonna leave it as is, but we're working on it. So I do need to work on updating these. I have been doing all of these except for my exercise class, and that is a whole different thing I need to think about, but this actually has been really good, sort of letting me see my progress. I haven't filled in anything yet because I'm only halfway through the month, but aside from the sewing, but I am still working on these, which is good. Then we've got tracker. So let's put this back here. So here is the tracker. Obviously, I haven't done my review yet, but things have been going pretty well. I've been getting into a pretty good routine overall, I would say, which is nice. I just need to work on keeping it up during the summer. And I've definitely hit my reading goal for this month. I'm actually thinking that I might need to do a sort of carryover page because I still have like a week and a half, 2 weeks left in the month, and I'm officially out of space on here. So yeah, but always a good thing when you read a lot. Then I've got my dailies. So this has been, or will be, the absolute shortest month because I've gotten 2 weeks on one spread. I honestly think a lot of it has to do with the fact that my work schedule has been slowing down and I kind of took a break last week and I just don't have as many things coming up. It's all sort of like fun projects which don't necessarily make it on here because I've tracked them elsewhere. So there are certain things where, for example, I do a lot of times write in when I want to do a Talk to Me in Korean lesson because that includes taking notes in the notebook. So I want to make sure I like remember to do that. But for other things, they get tracked in my PROJO, for example, but not necessarily on here. This is really sort of tasks that are day specific that I'm like, these are the things I want to work on today. And just lately I haven't had as much going on. So it's kind of nice. But yeah, so this is my July month. I decided to do all of my headers in, oh my gosh. This is my Italian month. I decided to do all of my headers in Italian, and I had a little space left at the end of each week, so I did different little doodles. So last week was, or 2 weeks ago, was the Armada. It was when the Armada kind of showed up. And then this past week we had some sun finally. We've had a lot of rain, so I just kind of did a little sun in Italian doodle. And then we're up to this week. So as you guys can see, I'm already on Tuesday over here, and it's looking like it's going to be pretty similar to last week where I think I'm gonna get the entire week on a page. And y'all, that is June. So let's take a look at July. So I have this spread that I'm gonna use for the next 2 weeks, but I wasn't sure, you know, I might need carryover for my reading and all that kind of stuff. So I did decide to go ahead and leave an extra spread in June just in case. You know, whatever I end up using it for, we'll see. But I wanted to make sure I had a little bit of space before I went ahead and did July, because you never know. So this is going to be the first day, or the first page in July. And my setup is not going to change too much. So I have done a couple of little pencil marks to sort of help me lay things out. But otherwise, let's take a look at what July is going to look like. So flip back here, I've got my pre-planning pages, here we go. So July is going to have this color scheme. I honestly was just looking for colors that I haven't really used yet, and I have this weird thing where I actually really love this like chartreusey color, even though it's kind of violent. And so I was like, you know what, we're gonna make a way to work. We're gonna figure out a way to make this work for July. So these are the colors I'm going to do for July. So I've got kind of two vibrant colors and then two pastel-ish lighter colors that are sort of in the same family. So for the vibrant colors, I've got 665 and 133, and then the pastel are 673 and 090. So we're gonna see how the actual configuration works out, but these are the colors that I'm planning on using. I've done a lot of like blue and yellow, so I wanted to do something a little different, so we went for purple and chartreuse, because why not? The quote that I chose is by Henry James. It's summer afternoon, to me those have always been the most beautiful words in the English language. So just something a little summer related as opposed to July related. So we'll see. I actually haven't even mapped out how I want to do this quote, so we'll see how that goes. July has 31 days, so I just have a little 31 next to my monthly. Then tasks, I did do a question mark, and as I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure. We'll see if I end up doing tasks or just intentions. Yeah, I'm not sure. And then I've got over here, I've got my intentions. And since it is the summer, also, why did I write so with two W's? No idea. Anyway, so I do have a couple more intentions because it is the summer. And you know what? I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we are going to not have tasks and we're just gonna do intentions. Yes, we're gonna try it. See how it goes. So I've got my intentions for July, and then for my tracker, I've just written down same as June. It's done. Reading is the same as well. And then I do have another little note over here that for my PROJO, it's time to set up Q3 because you guys might have seen, it is officially the end, like I'm going directly into weeklies. So it is the end of Q3, which means that I need to set up a new P-book. And I'm not gonna do it on here because I want to talk about what sorts of things I'm gonna do for Q3 a little bit later. So unlike most of my Plan With Me's recently where I kind of quickly set up the monthly in my PROJO, this is going to be strictly a bullet journal setup because the PROJO Q3 setup is gonna come a little bit later. So that actually simplifies things. So that is my setup. The sort of bones of the setup are not gonna change, but because it is so simple, we'll see. I might do a little bit more sort of doodling and hand lettering stuff. So that's kind of it, guys. So I'm going to time lapse you guys and I'll come back at the end and we'll chat about how things went. so that is July all set up. So let's take a quick peek. So the quote, it was a longer quote than I had kind of thought, which makes no sense because I knew exactly what the quote was, but I think my brain just thought it was shorter. So I picked a couple words as always to accent with a bit of brush lettering, but otherwise I just did cursive just because with a Tombow, the brush lettering ends up being so big that there's no way I would have fit the entire quote on here if I had done it all in brush lettering. So I played around, for example, with the chartreuse, I played around doing this darker purple on top and it just looked kind of brown. So I ended up going over with white so it's got kind of like a shaded sort of look, which let's actually take a look. I don't love it, but it is what it is. The sort of drop shadows that I did in the other parts I think came out a little bit better, but this was one of those experiments that just didn't quite turn out the way I had hoped. And because I used basically the entire page, I ended up just doing the attribution over here on the side in kind of a pale pink color just so it was there, but it wasn't super in the way just because it is going in a different direction than the rest of the writing. The July 2019, because I took up the whole page, I decided to go ahead and just sort of roughly center the quote here. And because I had been doing this sort of like added effect with like sort of the drop and dot, I decided to do something different for July. So I just did these 3 little lines going across there, and I actually like how that came out. I'm pretty pleased with how that actually looks. So that is sort of most of the colors. I had a hard time using this one, and I knew this one was gonna be a tough one just because it is so pale that it doesn't really show up super well. I could probably have done a drop shadow with it and it would have been okay, but it just was really a lot, I guess a lot paler than I thought based on when I had tested it. So I didn't end up using this color quite as much, but the other 3 colors I did use a bit more. Then I've got my monthly over here. I haven't filled anything in as always, but I used that really pale yellow to mark out my weeks, and I think you can see more the indent on the page from actually writing than you can actually see the color. But they are there, and in person I can see them well enough just to let me know where the week changeover is, so that works out fine. And I really liked the effect of having June go sort of off the, like go behind. So I ended up doing the same thing over here with the chartreuse and pink, and I kind of like the effect of that. Then I did decide at the last second that I wasn't going to do any tasks, so I just went with intentions over here. And as always, I've written down sort of what my goals are. Is it a daily thing? Is it a multiple times a week thing? Like, what's that actually gonna look like? And I have this sort of vague idea that with this sewing one, I might end up making a list of the things that I have sewn or that I do sew in July. We'll see, but I've basically just given the entire page for the intentions, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I miss having the tasks on here or not at all, since I also have kind of the general tasks going on in my PROJO, so we'll see. And then the last thing is tracker and reading. So my hands were really shaky today for whatever reason, so my lines are like less, well, they're even wavier than they normally are, but it is what it is. So the tracker itself stayed exactly the same as did my 2 little legends. As you can see, my handwriting is super messy because like I said, my hands were really shaky today for whatever reason, who knows. So yeah, this is going to stay as is for now. I have a feeling that maybe come August, I'll be ready to change things up a little bit, but at least for now this is working, and it was really easy to set it up just based on what I had done the previous month, so that was great. I did my reading over here, and I think I actually did leave myself a little bit more space. Yeah, so I knocked off, I had done this section really big last month and obviously came to regret it. So for July, I made it a little bit smaller. So if I do read a lot, hopefully I have a little extra space there. But yeah, that's July. I mean, it is super simple. And like I said, normally this would be a little bit longer, except that I'm going to save my Q3 PROJO setup for a different video because that's going to be re-looking through all of my goals that that I've already done, that I want to get done during the next 3 months and all of that. And I didn't want to try and cram that all into this video. So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this plan with me. I'm having fun actually taking a little bit more time doing some lettering on my intro page and for my headers and stuff than I have been for a while. So I don't know, hope you guys like it too. And if you guys have any comments or questions, leave them down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Hey guys, so if you've made it all the way to the end of this video and are actually watching my end screen and you're not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would. There's a little button right there for you to do it. And if you're interested in watching some more of my videos, I have links to 2 of my older videos off to the left there, so you can check those out if you would like to, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.